Stupid YouTube. Okay, let me see if I can shut the other stream down. Let's see, manage videos. Live. Do this one. Let's see what I can do here. Hit private. Save. See if I can delete. Oh. Do all kinds of things except delete there. Can we stop that? What is this? Delete forever. There we go. Do that. In theory, okay. Theoretically, we've got it taken care of. I'm back yet. Hi, Jean-Francois. Yeah, it's weird you can't just go back one step or whatever. Hi, Jeff. Oh, my goodness. Back to your question, Jean-Francois. Could you restate the question a little again so I can make sure I get the answer you want? Okay. I wasn't testing warm and cold solution. I was testing solution that had been cold. Okay. I took the same solution, subjected it to the refrigerator, and tested it. And then I take that same solution and subjected it to freezing and test it. So that's the question. Let me go get a sample. I had it in the freezer. I haven't looked at it since. Let me see what we've got here. Now that's interesting. Okay. So here we have two solutions. Now this is that 23.7 parts per million standard, and it is very difficult to see what's going on here because of the stupid light. Let me see what happens here. Okay, let's get another light here. And see what happens. Man. That's about as good as I can get. You can see that on the bottom of that tube, it's a lot darker. Now, this is frozen. This is the stuff from the pregnant pond. You'll notice the stuff above is darker in color, but the stuff at the bottom is even darker yet. So basically my conclusion is that low temperatures do not seem to precipitate anything out of solution. However, when you freeze the solution, it does tend to concentrate in the bottom. This part here now has much more gold in it than this part up here, which is much cleaner ice. Let's see if this shows up too. Oh, that's not bad. You can see this is a lighter color than this part here. So to me, that indicates we can have an issue when the pond is free. I mean, I got a pond that's 6 feet deep out there. It's freezing from the top down right now. So that is going to kind of stratify the solution concentration in that pond. I do not know how cold it's going to get this winter. I don't know if it's going to freeze solid, although it would not surprise me. I know that around here there's a code that says if you bury your water pipes at least 6 feet down, they're below the frost line. Well, I don't know if that works on a pond 6 feet down when it's a small pond. It's entirely possible that we only get like 2 or 3 feet of ice on top. If that's the case, perhaps I should have left the pump in the pond, and then in the middle of winter, we could pump the solution out. I have no clue how well the call it super concentrated solution would adsorb onto the resin. That's probably another test we can do this winter and see how that affects things. But it's more curiosity. The big question was, if we freeze that pond, does all the gold wind up in a layer on the bottom, a solid? If so, that's something we need to deal with. Any suggestions on a part-time prospector looking for gold on a GPAA claim? I would suggest, if you're new at this game and you want to do some prospecting and such, find a local prospecting club if you have any around you, and join that and talk with those people. They're going to have the local knowledge. They have lots of time to chat, and you'll find somebody who likes to show off, so to speak, and things like that. So that's a really good way to get a lot of local information quickly, both where and how and everything else. It's a really good way to get a fast start real cheap and easily. Okay. I really recommend local clubs for that. And so in Montreal, we had 118-foot, 4-foot deep on-ground swimming pool. Pool never froze the very. And in fact, the pond may not either at the level of water that's in it right now. But I had pulled out the pump for safety. I didn't want it to get encased in ice and maybe broken. So I just took it out. So I have no real way to get into there without drilling the ice in the middle of winter. Now, there's no reason we couldn't possibly do that. I know Lauren's got an ice auger. But what are you curious about the salt, Brian? Yeah, Honey Bunny is correct. Anything dissolved in the water will, in fact, reduce its freezing temperature. This is why you have 0 degrees centigrade, which is the freezing point of pure water, and 0 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 Fahrenheit degrees lower, which is the freezing point of the lowest temperature salt and water solution, the lowest freezing temperature you can achieve with water and pure sodium chloride. So that's how much difference an amount of salt makes in the freezing point. That's also why you spread salt on roads and things like that, because that brine will then cause stuff to uh, melt more easily. That only works down to 0 degrees. After that, regular salt on a road doesn't do a damn thing. That's when you use stuff like magnesium chloride solutions, calcium chloride, things like that, where that'll reduce that freezing point even lower, so they can melt that thing. But that's why they use salt. Um, Ethylene glycol would be very expensive, Lars. It's used when they're de-icing aircraft, because of course aircraft you really don't want corrosion on, so you need a non-corrosive solution. And also in the de-icing pads where they're de-icing the airplanes, it's my understanding they kind of recapture that solution and reuse it to a certain extent. Okay, but and of course they also use hot solution also. They're not just spraying, ambient temperature stuff. They're spraying hot stuff on so that it'll, you know. And yeah, ethylene glycol would be the toxic one. Propylene is non-toxic for humans. I believe you're correct on that, Jean-Francois. That is correct, Honey Bunny. Salt is both a particular substance and a class of substances. And so, as I say, it's just one of those, these are physical phenomena that you use to do different things under different situations in different ways. But we just found this was an interesting phenomenon, and we thought we'd experiment a little bit. It's wintertime. It's not like we can crush ore and leach it or anything. So we'll play a few games, see what we come up with. And I suspect we've done our last field trip to Montana Bee for the winter. Probably still got one down to Dave. Dave's mine. Sometime in a few weeks would be my guess, weather permitting. But the Montana Bee thing, Eva was having a little discomfort even in the camper because it was so windy. It's not completely airtight, which is a good thing considering it's got a propane heater in it. But it was unpleasant.
Can I get that T-shirt for Ryan?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, you're welcome, Arthur. That's what we do here is we try and help people out. If you ever have a particular question or something like that, please feel free to ask it on the live streams. They're Monday evenings at 6 o'clock Montana time. And go from there. To answer your question, Lars, it appears to do so. Although, let me get that spot plate. When we were using just the pregnant pond solution here, this was just after refrigeration, and this was refrigeration with shaking, and it seemed to improve the result a bit, although it's hard to tell. But it is one of those things that we'll do some more experiments and see what the situation is. But it seems like this one clearly See, this was frozen. Okay. And so when it thawed out and I took the sample from the bottom, clearly that gold is back in solution there, you know? So yes, it does appear to go back into solution. Okay. No, we're talking about something called Eco Goldex, Arthur. It's an artificial chemical made specifically to dissolve gold, and then you recover the gold out of solution. When you're dealing with, no, here, this is some gold ore. Let me change the lights again. This is some gold ore. This is from Montana B. This rock, 80% of the gold is less than 2,000 mesh. Okay. It's, 4 times smaller than talcum powder. It does not gravity separate worth a darn. It won't settle to the bottom of anything in any reasonable amount of time, and certainly not as fast as larger rock particles will. So trying to get the gold separated from the rock would be very difficult. So what you do is you dissolve the gold. You use a chemical that is somewhat selective and dissolves gold, but not the rock. And then you grab the gold out of the solution. The basic concept was done well over a century ago with sodium cyanide. Because of environmental concerns, that is banned in some places like Montana. Cyanide is fairly easy to use safely, but it sounds scary, and you have to use large quantities. But it is not terribly dangerous in the concentrations used, which is all. That's what kills you is concentration. There's millions and millions of tons of rock on that mountainside. It's that 1 10-pounder that falls on your head that's going to kill you. So, but because of certain things, they're working on other chemistries to recover gold from rock, especially the fine gold, the placer gold, sand and gravels, larger gold particles. Rock in general has a lot of very, very fine gold that's very difficult to recover using those techniques, thus the chemistry. We started experimenting with this Eco Goldex about 2 years ago. It's still fairly new, and we're kind of developing a lot of stuff as we go along. Like this particular series of tests here, what you're seeing is gold precipitated from samples, solution samples. And as such, we can do that for about a penny per sample. Okay. If I want a number, like this one right here says 23.7 parts per million, that number cost me $25 to get that number. Okay. These cost me a penny each and take me, if I really wanted to push it, I could do this in about 30 minutes by, drying it with a blow dryer. Normally we just put the stuff in the well and come back in the next day after it's dried. But part of what we in particular try and do is make hard rock gold mining accessible to more ordinary people. Now there's a gentleman here. He's not here tonight, but he often shows up, called Rock Butcher. And he's a professional field geologist, works for mining companies, and he may have project with budgets in millions of dollars just to explore, just to take samples and like that. We don't have that kind of budget. Therefore, we We try and figure out an easy way, a cheap way that can still do an adequate job. Yeah, if you can see the gold, Jean-Francois, there's a good chance a falcon will pick it up. Okay. Maybe not every piece, but enough of them so that it'll be useful. Okay. Um, that's a good tool. And I would encourage that. Yeah. The other thing, Jean-Francois, I suggest getting an ultraviolet light too. You never know, there may be something there that is helpful. The stuff at Montana Bee absorbs ultraviolet light. Using those blue blocker sunglasses, it looks as darker than this t-shirt, you know? So as I say, those are, you never know when something will go, aha. I'd also practice my hand panning technique. One thing you may find in Africa is that there is significant amounts of microfine gold that they're not recovering, are not amenable to standard panning techniques. They can't see it. They think they've got it all or pretty close to it, and they send it, into the tailings pile. Where you, if you can identify that, might be able to use the Eco Goldex, and they just bring you a constant stream of material. You leach it, you give them a percentage, or you just buy it by the ton, whatever. And I would be careful buying by the ton because that would encourage them to dilute it with something really cheap. But you can do that. Another thing is, by using something like this and a bottle roll, you might be able to get a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Jean-Francois. They're much too casual about mercury at times. Hey, Shaggy. But anyhow, say, as you can see, our illustrious visitor, I'm getting kind of old, Arthur, so my brain doesn't work real well. But anyhow, Arthur, as you can see, this is kind of what we like to do. We just chat. We're a group of nice people here that like to help each other out and figure out what we can do to help everyone, give other people ideas and stuff. That's what we do. Jean-Francois lives in Canada and is looking at maybe going to Africa. Alex! Yeah!
Hi, Alex.
How's it going, Alex? You're back from a remote Alaska gold exploration camp. How did that go, Alex?
Yeah, we want details.
Photos or it's not true.
Did you picture it didn't happen? And did you find any silver?
I like helicopters. Eva does not, Alex.
It must be a testosterone thing because no sane person would fly one of those damn things.
Hey, they can auto rotate. That's just like a plane. If the engine goes out, you're not out of options.
Yeah, so you say.
I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm not a geologist. I'm not a carpenter. I'm just kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. But yeah, Arthur, it does help to have a lot of other knowledge. It doesn't have to be deep, just broad. Oh yeah. Yeah, the main rotor is kind of important on those things, but if all of a sudden one of your front wheels falls off in a car going 90 miles an hour down the freeway, you can be in deep trouble too. We were drilling core, probably never know the assay results for the holes. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. You're looking for jobs around Elko? Well, the scenery is not nearly as good as Alaska in general. Elko's pretty basic desert scenery. The one that holds the rotor on called the Jesus nut. Yeah, I can see why. Hello, Mr. Virtue. And anyhow, why don't you take over for just a minute, little one, while I make a quick break. Okay. Find any crystals up there, Alex? You know how Eva is.
Go away. Hi, everybody. Well, I found a really cool Christmas present for my older son. Not quite sure what, if anything, I'm going to get for my younger son. If I do get him something, he won't be able to get it for quite a while. So there is that. Hi, honey bunny. Hi, Alex. Stib night, huh? That's cool. Hi, Mr. Virtue. Hi, Shaggy. Honey bunny, I'll tell you, as long as I was moving around and actually doing something, my warm weather gear, my cold weather gear does keep me nice and toasty. It's the whole sitting there in the 10 or 15 mile an hour wind that just don't work out well, just totally and completely ridiculous. Has anybody noticed the Christmas shopping season doesn't seem to be going very well, at least not where I am. We were out and about shopping again today, such as it was, buying food and necessities. And all the carts I saw at Costco were filled with food and necessities. And all the carts I saw at Walmart were filled with food and necessities. Unless people are giving massive packages of toilet paper as a Christmas present or 20-pound bags of dog food, there wasn't much Christmas shopping going on at all. Go figure. Huh. So hunting season didn't go well for you, Alex? But anyway,
Hunting season where? Montana or Alaska?
Yeah. Alaska. Alex, it's shockingly warm here. He's coming back over in a second, guys.
Have you been able to watch the videos while you're up in Alaska, Alex? Because I don't know how much you've been able to keep up on things or not. Haven't seen you on the live stream in a couple months. There's limited room up there, Honey Bunny, and she has to be able to see the head frame, the carriage, and things like that. So it becomes kind of difficult. Well, that's undesirable, Alex. His roof leaked while he was away.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
No, that drips, not sucks. Oh. Yeah, we've been pretty busy, but it's been okay. It's been an interesting summer. That's for sure. He says the whole ceiling collapsed, 300,000 in damages. I hope you were renting, Alex, and I hope the owner had insurance. 300,000 in damages. I could build a house for that.
You could have built a house for that years ago.
You
can't anymore, dude.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you happen to have lots and lots of logs and a log lathe and, all that stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Virtue, that's what we call Montana Bee. Haven't been there much this summer. We were focusing on top of the hill. Oh, yeah. I've been to Congress, Arthur. If I'm not mistaken, that's top of the Yarnell grade. But I'm not absolutely certain. I'm getting old. I'm 67. I've had a stroke in the past. So, a little bit.
Always making.
Ooh, the leak happened because of negligent roofers. So there's a lawsuit. Well, I hope they have good insurance. Oh, the vulture mine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think Congress is at the top of the grade, if I'm not mistaken. But I could easily be mistaken. I know it's right around there somewhere. Oh, roofers tore off the roof, then just left, never came back, and it rained for a week. Okay, good luck on that one. They're clearly not reputable people. So I think uh, your landlord has got an issue. Um, that sounds like fly by nights, where they get the contract to get the upfront money, do a little something, and then just take off. Huh? He says it was a big contractor in Butte. Well recommended. Very strange. That is strange for someone to do that. I mean, in a case like that, you just put a tarp up there and hammer it down. It's pretty easy to, protect it temporarily during the bad weather. Yeah, we had about 2 feet of snow about month and a half ago. That's some weird stuff, man. I don't know. I'm not sure in Montana, Alex, but in Arizona, if they're a registered contractor, the registrar of contractors pays the damages and then they go after the contractor. Is that how it works in Montana here? Yeah, that's Butte, Montana. Dave, Alex was a student last year at Montana Tech. I'm not sure if he's going back there again this year or not, but yeah, Montana Tech, Dave. About a mile and a half from your house, I think. Good. Glad you graduated, Alex. Let's say I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the situation is, but let's say in Arizona, in order to do a job like that, unless you jump through some special hoops to make you avoid the thing, you have to be a registered contractor. And I say, you can do it as a labor supplier. Basically, the customer buys the materials and all you're providing is labor. You can play that game and get away with it unless you had a situation like this. Then they're likely to come after you for operating as an unregistered contractor. If you got a brick and mortar location, that would be extremely dangerous.
Bear, you know dang well that about 75% of the dang contractors in Arizona are illegal. They are wildcat contractors.
Exactly. That's what I said, licensed. That's what I'm saying. I think he says it's a fairly reputable company, theoretically.
Good grief. That is just ridiculous.
So, I say, to me, again, it's not my problem, but yeah, in Arizona, it would probably be resolved pretty quickly for the landlord. Then they go after the state would go after the contractor. But yeah, let us know how that turns out. I'm curious on that one. So how many feet of core did you log up in Alaska, Alex? Is this a really remote camp or what? Living in Bozeman until you find a job. Well, there should be lots of jobs around. I don't know. In Helena, there's got help wanted out all over the place. He was presumably working as an employee or a contractor for a larger company doing the geological examination of the cores, okay, as opposed to actually drilling them himself, would be my guess. Am I correct, Alex? Okay, you were the core cutter, huh? Cut about 1,200 meters of core, 3 holes, 400 meters each. Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
So,
So how much does that cost, by the way?
cost or pay? What are you talking about?
I'd like to know how much it costs.
Well, he was the guy hired to cut the core. It wasn't his equipment, I'm sure. He was just the laborer. He was getting paid to do it.
Well, I just thought he might have an idea since he's done it.
He made $10,000 in 4 weeks, $350 a day. Yep, not too bad. I presume it's fairly. Were you remote, or were there drilling, or how far out in the boonies were you, and where was the project, if you can say? Yeah, honey bunny. Use a gas-powered saw. It was outside work, barely above freezing. We were really remote. Yeah, that can happen in Alaska. That can really happen in Alaska. So, yeah, it'd have to be above freezing, or the wet saw wouldn't work too well. You'd have to have a water heater or something just to keep the stuff liquid while you worked. But yeah, that's let's see, 1,200 meters, 3/5 of a mile of core. That's a fair amount of work. Two-hour flight, close to town, 100 miles away, only way into camp by helicopter, Southwest Alaska. Okay.
Sheesh.
So, yeah. Sounds like you earned your money. Did you enjoy the adventure, or was it just work? I mean, it's only a month.